Hi guys, it's Sandy with Crafty Stamp Co. And today I have a card I created with the September 2026 Crafty Crew Kit. I am absolutely in love with this little set. It actually comes with two separate stamp sets, a stencil. It also has pattern paper, and subscribers will also get a little embellishment. This particular card I created using the new, let me grab it here, Unicorn Slumber Party stamp set. So I've got all my little people here, my little clouds. The sentiment is from this set. And then this little piece of paper right here I created using the stencil, which is called Pillow Fight, which is just adorable. So, and I just used tone on tone. Super simple. I just wanted something in the background that wasn't going to compete with my Meadow and her pillows and the little unicorn. This kit is available for pre-order from August 1st through the 15th, 2026. It will ship on or around September 5th. The cost of the kit for non-subscribers is $48.02 plus shipping. A bi-monthly subscription is $42.56 plus shipping. And with the bi-monthly subscription, you also get this little embellishment pack of the dewdrops. All right, let's get started. I'll show you how I put this all together. I'm starting with a piece of white cardstock cut at 5.5 by 6 inches. And I am going to use a little bit of Distress Oxide ink, and I'm just going to dust up that cardstock with some spun sugar because I don't want a real harsh or a real bright white background on this. I'm going to be doing a little bit of stenciling on here. The stencil I'm using comes in the kit. It's called Pillow Fight. And I'm just going to do a tone on tone. So I've got my light color of spun sugar on my white cardstock. I'll go ahead and press that stencil down on my little sticky mat here. And then I'm just going to go in with my blending brush, same blending brush, and go over those openings just to darken it up. I don't want it too dark. I just want this to be a real subtle background to put Meadow on. I'm going to put that piece now in my little spatter box, and I'm going to water down some silver watercolor, metallic watercolor, and I'm just going to spatter that background just to give it a little bit more interest and a little bit of shine, because I think Meadow likes shiny stuff. I like to add dimension to my cards, so I usually pop up something on foam dots. This is one of the ways I do it. It's a little bit different. Sometimes when you're using foam dots and you're stacking a lot of these pieces, your foam dots kind of start getting in the way of each other. So what I like to do is I like to glue all my pieces together and make them one unit. And once I get that glued, then I can adhere my foam dots or foam tape to that one big piece. To me, that just makes it easier, and I'm not fighting where I've got a dot and where I don't have a dot, and it just simplifies the whole process. So I'm going to get all of those pieces glued together, and then I will have a nice big surface to put my foam tape on. I'm going to trim down my stencil piece. I want it just as a background for Meadow. I don't want it to extend over all of the pattern paper because I love the pattern paper in this pack, and I don't want to cover it up, but it's too busy to put her on top of. So I'm going to cut this down to roughly 4 inches by maybe 4 1/8 inches. It's just a little bit shorter than the sides, but it's about 4 inches tall. I'm going to use a die from my stash and cut out a piece of this pattern paper to the A2 size, which is 5.5 by 4 1/4. And This pattern paper, all of it is just so pretty and yummy. It was hard to choose one. Here I'm dusting up those edges on my stenciled paper with a little bit of spun sugar distress oxide ink. And if you pay real close attention, I goofed on that bottom piece and used a dirty brush, but that's okay, it's going to be covered. To add to the Slumber vibe, I used one of my cloud border dies from my stash, and I decided I would trim out my stencil paper. So I've got that cut out, and I'm just going to dust up those edges with a little bit of shaded lilac distress oxide ink. I'm going to glue those pieces to the edges of my pink paper, and we are moving right along to get this background finished. And here I'm using some liquid glue again, of course, to adhere my trimmed out stencil piece of paper. I kind of felt like I might have gotten too big with it because it covers a lot of that beautiful pattern paper, but it is what it is. I decided to glue the little balloons, the rainbow balloon and the little cloud balloon, directly to that background. It was just going to be too difficult to pop up the strings on those particular illustrations, so we are just going to put them flat against the background. And now we're going to put Meadow on this background, and as you can see, she is one gigantic piece, and I have actually some 1-inch wide tape that I've used to back her up, and that just makes it much easier to glue and position. I decided to use a sentiment from the Unicorn Slumber Party stamp set. I thought that would be just perfect for this. I'm going to go ahead and just get that stamped on a piece of white cardstock and then die cut that out. I am using VersaFine ink here just because I like that for these thinner letters. I think it does a much nicer job. It makes a very crisp impression. However, if you're using that, you cannot ink blend over it or use your Copic markers on it because it will. I'm pretty sure that Meadow is a girly girl and she likes bling as much as I do. I'm going to use the embellishment set that came with the subscribers kit, and I'm just going to sprinkle some of those around that card just to add a little bit of shine and a little bit of shimmer. And this card front is finished. All I have left to do is apply it to a card base. Thank you for spending a little bit of your day with me. Make sure you get in that ordering window if you want these 2 stamp sets and the patterned paper. The whole kit is just absolutely over the top adorable. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel to be notified of future videos. You can follow me on Instagram at Sandy Cogdill or on my blog, Sandy Cogdill Designs. Until next time, bye-bye.